Welcome everyone to the Courage Coaching and Counseling Podcast. My guest today, guys, I'm so happy and excited to have Ernesto Segismundo today on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited on being here.
Uh, I was thinking back, Ernesto, when did we connect? I think it's been a few years, and
Yes.
I think it was either through our mutual friend Kate Piper or Mercedes Samudio. Uh, and I got connected with your Film It Facebook group.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, right? It's been a while. I think, yeah, absolutely. A few years. We've just been engaging on social media, Facebook, and I do have that Facebook group. I do believe we saw it, we actually got connected way before that.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we did, yeah. And we have so many mutual friends, professional friends on Facebook. So I think that's one of the reasons we got connected. And fast forward to now, look at you and your podcast is amazing.
Thank you. Oh, well, you've been a part of that. Encourage me. You always inspire me with the way that you share, and you're constantly encouraging on social media. But for today, I wish I had some food to share with you. So we get nice and comfortable, because you're always uh, very open and transparent, and just share your life on social media. But I'm hoping to like dig deeper, to like
Absolutely.
behind the scenes with Ernesto, and figure out what makes you tick, but also uh, to talk about where has courage shown up in your life and in the lives of the people that you help, the counseling clients that you work with, but
Yeah.
also the professionals, the therapists and counselors that you develop and work with too.
Yeah, I love that question. It just makes me pause for a moment about all of the areas that I've really thought that was milestone through being courageous. I'm first generation Filipino, and I was born in Olongapo City in the Philippines, and I come from a long line of immigrants who ventured to Hawaii. That's where I actually grew up, in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai. They were farmers. They were they grew vegetables. They did chicken fights back then. They were doing all the and they worked in the cane fields. And so, coming from a long line of hardworking Filipinos really instilled in me, value system of the value of work and family and community. And so, growing up with that, seeing my family work hard for money, work hard for food, and just having a lifestyle of being a community taught me a lot. I think the roots of where my courage comes from is the fact that I'm grounded in family. I'm grounded in family. So that's one area. And I think the other area is grounded in faith as well too. So, growing up in a Christian home, Catholic, we were really family oriented, and faith was a big part of me growing up. And along the way, I think a combination of community, family, and faith really helped me to identify that things just happens in a flow, and that there's always going to be a hard time. And I do believe that suffering creates um, strength. And I think in this day and age as well too, I look back at my life, and being an entrepreneur, being a therapist, it makes me really be a bit more um, open-minded to other people's struggles, and being vulnerable at that. And so that's why you see a lot of what I post on social media is me, and the difficulty of running a business, and also the triumph and having fun out there. I post my food, my dogs, my drone shots, my videography stuff, and my travels. I post that because I think we have to experience the newness of life every day. Many of us are either living in the future and in the past,
Mm.
and seldom in the present. And so I want to reflect a present moment in the way that I reflect my world, right? Living in the moment, because, I think that's where we get mixed up. We get so afraid or fearful because we're living too much in the past and living too much in the future, I think. And in the present moment, there's so many opportunities to be courageous. And I think that's where I choose to reflect my moments.
Yeah. The being in the present. Some of your videos recently, like in the last month,
Mhm.
uh, it's not only like showcasing like your new equipment, but it's they've been really mindful. They've kind of helped me like slow down and pause. They've been really soothing and serene. Uh,
Yeah.
the I'm curious, Ernesto, what would you say growing up or as you're becoming a therapist? What were
Mhm.
some of the like the challenges that you had to overcome?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I come from a family that did not have much financial resources. And so even the idea of going off to a university, I graduated from a Christian university here called Biola University.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
lived right over the hill in Hacienda Heights.
Oh my goodness, what a small world. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so
what did you study at Biola?
well, here's a story. Okay, so um growing up in Hawaii, I was around church a lot. And I actually wanted to attend a university because I wanted to be a pastor. And yeah, yes, not very many people know that, but I'm going to
Singing,
tell this
dancing
story.
pastor. Filipinos love
Exactly.
the singing pastors.
Right, exactly. So here's a story. Part of my journey is that I didn't have any financial resources to really leave Hawaii and attend a university, because many people around me were so privileged enough to have the financial resources to get up and leave an island and go to a 4-year university. And I would be really literally the first one in my family, my immediate family, to attend. I
Wow.
mean, I had a couple cousins here and there that attended a university, and it was great for them. So I took a leap of faith. That's courage number one, right? Took a leap of faith, knowing that my mom, my dad, my family members could not afford me to go. But, I was so driven at that time that hearing the word no was very difficult for me.
Mm.
So I found a way to do it. My family didn't know how to sign the financial aid, whatever, they couldn't even speak the language to complete it. So I completed the application to 3 different universities at that time, and I was turned down by most of them except Biola.
Mm.
Even University of Hawaii, out of all the universities,
They're not gonna
re-
take you
rejected
in.
me. Rejected me because, yeah, honestly, because I didn't take my education serious. But I had to literally beg Biola University to let me go in, and they accepted me. And again, at this time, I didn't know if I could afford it, and I went to Biola. Halfway through, my pastor, and he claims he doesn't remember this, but he says, I think you should go a different route than just being than a pastor. And I was like, what? So basically, he saw my gifts not as a pastor, but more as a counselor.
Mm.
And I either he sensed that in the very beginning, I think. And so I went in a counselor route. And honestly, Siobhan, you've been watching me on social media, and I drop a lot of F bombs. I'm not the normal psychotherapist
You'd
out
be so
there.
in trouble with your elder team, Ernesto, if you were a pastor.
Yes,
Oh man, you'd
yes.
be
So
stressing them out.
exactly, it's been a funny joke, and it's so funny seeing that journey, and how, my church family has really embraced my journey and the direction I went into in the area of helping people,
Hmm.
right? And so lo and behold, I went to Biola. That's my journey, and got my education. Started working, as you did, in different setting to increase my knowledge in the clinical world, and became very interested in the creative side of our profession. And so one thing that I wanted to position myself to do is, now that I look at it, I wanted freedom. I didn't want the 9 to 5 job. I didn't want to work in community care agencies, because it will lock me into that. So I did work for about 8 to 9 years in community care here in Los Angeles and Orange County. And I did that for some time. I didn't know anything about being entrepreneurial, even though I grew up with family members who are entrepreneurs. They sold vegetables. They were at the swap meet selling stuff. My sister currently has a store that sells Filipino products. You know, so I had that in my veins, the entrepreneurial in me, but I didn't really exercise that and became aware of that until I found out what private practice in counseling was. Here
Hmm.
in in California back then, about 2004, I believe, there, or five, there was a wave of layoffs in the mental health community because the funds were not available. So I was actually let go because the agency couldn't afford having people like me there. And so I look back at it, and I think that was the blessing in disguise.
Hmm.
When you think
Were you
about
panicking? Or
I
was it stressful?
did. I
Yeah.
did, because at that time I just newly I bought a house. I had a house back then. Like, I just bought a house. And next thing you know, a year later, I my my job is gone. And
Hmm.
so I had to, I think, during times of stress and anxiety, my brain kicks in and go, okay, what are you going to do now? I think I have that fight mentality, that if something is coming my way, I need to find a way.
Hmm.
you know I freak out, and go into depression and anxiety mode. But once i I tell myself, look, pity yourself, go into depression, experience all the things, and then get up and do something about it. That's where my upbringing with first generation Filipinos brought me, right?
Hmm.
You experience the thing, and
Let
then
the wave of emotion hit you.
just let it
Crisis
hit
come.
you. And then don't spend too much time there, and just move and go. And so when you see some of the things that I do on social media and the way that I ventured throughout my career, it's basically that: allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to experience all the things, but do not stay there. Get up and do something about your life, right?
Hmm.
And so um, now, fast forward, I've got a thriving group practice. I've got a coaching business where I help other entrepreneurs to build their practices. I have a videography company where I create promotional videos for therapists. And so, and now I'm
And
also,
you host conferences
I
for
host conference,
therapists too.
yeah, in Hawaii and in other places of the United States. And so the main thing about courage here is just get up and do the thing. Allow your body, allow your brain to adjust itself in times of crisis, right?
Hmm.
I mean, there's some of our colleagues that they want the type of lifestyle that they dream of, but it just sticks in their mind. It just stays there. if you really want it, put one foot in front of the other and move, and just move, and then your mindset, your brain will react to that and respond to that. And next thing you know, the first courageous thing you do will inspire the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and until your brain goes, you know what, it's not so bad. There's going to be some
Right.
obstacles here, but it's not going to be that bad. That is where my psychology brain comes in the neuroplasticity. You know, the brain really does adjust to your actual actions and behavior. And so that's where my journey comes in, where just today, let me give an example. I've been so afraid to fly my drone through trees. I know this is something really
Oh,
trivial,
yeah.
because
Haven't you crashed a few in
I
the past?
crashed. Yes, I've. So for those of you who are listening, like I love part of my videography business is I love to do aerial, and I have several drones, and I crashed one the other day. And so
Oh,
I've been afraid to fly my drone through trees, through in certain areas. So today I made it a point to practice flying my drone through trees, through navigating through trees. And so you saw that today in social media on Instagram, where literally programmed the drone to follow me through trees and navigate manually through trees. And so I thought to myself, wow, this is not so bad. But that's how the brain works. You have to practice it. I was so afraid because drones are expensive. The drone that I have, that I bought recently, is very expensive. And it's also embarrassing when people are watching and you get it stuck in the tree.
oh man.
That
Yeah.
is,
They're like, oh man, there's that guy
yeah, there's that
that can't
idiot,
fly his
like
drone. Yeah.
he he flew it too close to a tree. So one thing that I did
And you're
today,
a
like I
professional.
yes, exactly right. And so I had to learn. I was like, you know, that's not too bad. So tomorrow I'm gonna fly it again. I mean, you know, you're always going through these risks, right? But that's part of life. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I liken it to flying your drone through trees. You're risking it,
Yeah.
but you're also confronting your fears at the same time.
It's so true, Ernesto. And that's why like one thing that I've really appreciated uh, about you from you over the years is like the Film It Facebook community. When I started and joined it, you were doing challenges a weekly for therapists to put yourselves out there. Just do a 10-second video, 30-second video, and you would do the prompts and different topics. And that's how I started to learn
That's
how
awesome.
to hit record is and how to look at the camera. That was one of your things. Like, look at the camera. It's just like really small basic steps.
Exactly.
um so but sometimes it takes years to overcome fear
That's
and
right.
gain confidence. So my YouTube channel, for the first 5 years of it, I did 4 videos
Mm,
in 5 years. And
mm,
and a couple of the 3 of the videos were like in the last 2 years.
mm.
So basically one video like the first 3 years,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, but little by little with practice, now I can ask you to do a video with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's exactly, I love that testimony. And some people say that you know, do it every day. But you know what? Just do it. If it's, you did one video this year, you do another one in 2 years. Okay, let's continue that. These are all wins, right? These are all wins that we have to really celebrate as much as possible, because some, we don't know the level of anxiety, we don't know the level of fear, we don't know the level of a challenge that someone may experience. The
Mm,
main thing is you move towards your goal, right? You move towards that thing. If it's doing a big business, or if it's getting away from direct client care contact and you want to do some other scaling things, you want to do some other things as well too.
yeah.
do small steps, just move towards that goal. And I think what happens is as you start escalating in doing more of those things, um, you start conditioning your mind and your brain to actually do more of it, and then escalating that to another level, and then you do more of it, right? So the main thing is, we all have to combine a few things, um, working out the mindset and then the action towards it. That is, I think, the main thing to move forward and making things happen in your life. And one thing that I tell people is, you shouldn't be afraid of trying new things or failing. You shouldn't be afraid of failing. You should be more terrified about being stagnant, right?
Mm.
That is one thing that I want to let people know, is that failing is not the enemy here. The enemy is stagnation.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is what that for me, it's one of those things that we have to realize, I think, as a community, that you are creative. You are not meant to be mediocre, at least from in my opinion. You go back to the faith-based approach to the way that I view the world, is that humans were not made to be mediocre. We are creative. There's much more to us than just 9 to 5. We have to create things. We have to experience life. I think that's
Mm.
where uh my journey lies.
Yeah. That's part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the fun of following along, seeing what you're creating. I want to ask a little bit, Ernesto, like with the action and then taking steps and then doing more.
Mm-hmm.
Your energy level, like you're involved in so many things, like building practice, private practice group, and developing your team, your therapists. Uh, you mentioned, we mentioned conferences and your coaching and videography. You also do keynote speeches and
Yeah.
speak. Now I understand, like maybe that's part of the fun, is like you get to do your preaching at conferences for
Oh,
therapists.
I didn't
It
even
happened.
realize that. That's a great insight. Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah. So how how do you decide on what to focus on? Because that there's so, you're involved in so much. When I first connected with you, you were also teaching uh
Hmm.
counseling, teaching therapy
Yeah.
at a university.
Yeah. I wear many hats. I've worn many hats. And here's my philosophy. One thing is to be very aware of our vibe, our energy, right? What gets us excited waking up. So let me give an example. Sometimes we choose careers because it's convenient. Sometimes we choose careers and because it makes money. We go in that route. That's a natural thing, right? Sometimes we choose partners and friends because they're just there. My philosophy and my thing is, be aware of your energy. Be aware, knowing yourself fully on when you're around people, how do they make you experience yourself and the world? If it
Mm.
doesn't feel good, then put some boundaries on it. If they make you feel good, move towards them, right? So it's one of those things where if you have a career that you do not like, you don't move towards that. You actually move away from that. You find ways to get out of that. So number one thing that I think of is, what makes my energy energized? You know what I mean? Like what gets me lit up um, when I choose a keynote or be around people or a career path. Because the more you're doing the things that you do not like to do, or you do not want to do, or be around people who are what I call emotional vampires, the
Mm.
more your energy will be sucked, right?
Yeah.
The more that you will not find a reason to want to wake up in the morning and do
Right.
the thing.
You just
So
burn out and dread it.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So I'm coaching people now where I explore, okay, where's your energy goes, and let's try to reclaim that energy. So because sometimes we squander our energy away. Now, when I think energy, okay, it's nothing spiritual, it's nothing like that, but you'll know your energy level when you're around certain people, right? If you're around people who gets you excited, gets you inspired, gets you hopeful, and gets you creative, your energy is elevated,
Yeah.
right? But when you're around,
Just thinking about that is getting my energy up. Yeah.
right, but when
Yeah.
you're around people who are always negative, they are naysayers. You know, when you are excited about something, you go, hey, I'm gonna do a podcast, and they go, well, do you really have they're naysayers. Like it's
Right.
an energy suck, right?
Right.
So
It's already hard enough to get excited about something new.
exactly.
They
And
just like shoot you down.
Isaac Newton said that like energy attracts like energy, right? So the more that you are um, looking for people or around people who really complement your energy, the more you get closer to them. And the people that does not complement your energy, there is that push and pull. There's that weird borderline kind of like dynamic going on there. That is, you don't know if it's good or bad, if it's a confusing energy.
Mm,
That's what you have to be careful about, you
mm,
know. And also with careers as well too, many of our colleagues um, are working with clients that really don't fit their energy because we're bleeding hearts, right? As mental health professionals,
right.
we are we are conditioned to work with everyone because they're hurting. That's not good to those that we are serving. Sometimes we just have to put the boundary to those people that don't work well with us, and it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not a good fit for you. I'm going to send you out a referral. So the main
It's
thing,
hard for young well even experienced therapists, but especially when you're young, or younger, or newer in your career, and if someone asks for help, you say yes, and
yeah,
if you have an opening on your schedule, you say yes.
yeah, absolutely. And so to go back to your question of Ernesto, how do you do all of the things that you're doing right now with
Right.
the energy? The one answer I can give you is because all of those things that I'm doing right now is what I love to do.
Mm.
Sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, oh my gosh, I've got an idea for this one thing that I'm working on. Like last night, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about a way to edit one of my videos. The previous night, I had to write an email, and this was funny. I wrote an email because I had an idea with one of the people that I'm coaching, and she's doing something so fun in her career that I'm like, well, I woke up in the middle of the night going, oh my gosh, I got a recommendation for her. So the things that I'm doing right now is months and years of understanding my energy and saying, you know what, I want to work with this person. I want to try this thing. I want to do this thing. I want to move towards this. It's just being aware of my emotional and energy level, my vibe on things. Because when you work in community health and you work with people who you're not supposed to be working with, you start questioning, like, is this really what I want? Is this really the person I want to work with?
Right.
You start questioning those things, and then you just have to be aware of no or yes. Yes, I want to work with them, or no. And if it's no, do other things that are going to position you uh to love what you do, you
Yeah.
know?
That reminds me of was it Greg McEwen, or I think that's how you pronounce it, essentialism.
Hmm.
If it's not a strong yes, then it's a no.
Yes. Oh wow, that's a beautiful. I have that book, but absolutely, I think we just have to be open and honest about our direction. And there's also some insecurities too, right? Like
Mm,
many of our colleagues want to do things that um that they feel like they can't. There's that imposter syndrome, right? There's that thing of the insecurity of, I can't do that because it's too hard. How do you know? You haven't tried it. The
Right.
more you, the more you think about how hard it is and difficult it is, that's going to become the actual reality to that thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
I say,
But you have to experience it to know.
mm-hmm,
And
right,
uh, for example, uh, l- like TikTok, social media,
yeah,
so many therapists that are like, that's not for me. Like Instagram is like some people that they're struggling with Facebook or marketing.
yeah,
They don't want to put themselves out there, and it's not for everybody, but TikTok is clearly for you. like that you're such a natural at it. It's so fun. For listeners, if you haven't seen, I'll put your link
th-
in the show notes, because you got to check out Ernesto's dance moves and just sense of humor. um Having fun,
yeah,
laughing, because
yeah,
so much of what we work with clients is heavy.
yeah,
um and I appreciate what you were saying earlier. It's when you work with folks that aren't the ideal fit, it, you start we can start to take it on as like, I'm responsible for this not going well.
that's
This
right,
doesn't feel good. So it, it like, am am I am I doing the right, like, not trusting the process? Like, I must be doing
exactly,
something wrong because we feel stuck, it's not working.
yeah,
um and and sometimes it's not working harder at something that is a poor fit. It's just
yeah,
realizing this is not a good fit, and it's
yeah,
okay to to try something and realize, like, this is not for me. I don't have to keep
mhm,
doing this job or this, or if you don't have a good fit at a counseling center, like, this
yeah,
isn't a good fit. Because finding your thing is awesome. Finding your
hmm,
thing is a lot of fun. Like, I'm just starting podcasting, but hearing people's stories and just uh the things that they overcome, it's a lot of fun. uh
yeah,
and no idea, like, what where it's gonna go. But definitely glad that I'm trying it and
yeah,
starting it.
no, yeah. And I think you said something really profound there. um uh, Positive psychology has tons of research out there about negative emotion and positive emotion. Now, I know many listeners are going, what, negative and positive emotions? But hear me out real quick. And even positive psychologists say that they don't like the term negative and positive emotions. But
Hmm.
there are some emotions out there that are more attractive than others, right? So some of the things that you've mentioned in your statement about humor, about inspiration, about all of those things are positive emotions, or elicits positive emotions. So some of the things that are lacking in this day, or maybe I'm maybe not seeing them, is that sometimes when we get so involved in our careers, in the thing that which we are doing to put food on the table, have a roof over our head, sometimes when we focus so much on all of that, we forget to have fun. We forget how to be hopeful, inspired. We forget how to do all those things. And so it when we don't engage in humorous activity, like being around people who just don't take their life serious, it's like they're just having fun on TikTok or posting food, uh daily food on Instagram. There's so many things in the world that is going to cause us a lot of depression and fear, and we don't want to deny that. We don't want to close our eyes to them, but at the same time, we want to look at the other piece of this, and there's much to live for, right?
That's right.
There's a lot of good people out there to be around. There's a lot of beautiful places to visit. I think part of where, I've come to understand, for myself is that uh, I want to experience life. I want to be around people who are fun, who don't take things serious, who likes to take trips, who likes to try new food, um, who look at a video on TikTok and then they text me that video and they think it's funny, and then I find it funny or I don't. You know, but it's just one of those things where if you take yourself too serious in life, we have nothing in common.
The this last year has been really hard, and one of the things is that like those things that you just listed, like travel and being able to share experiences, trips, or food
Hmm.
with your friends, like that's something that we're like trying to like come out of. Hopefully
Hmm.
this year opens things up more. uh yeah, it's neat to understand because I've been following your travels around the world, and so that's part of uh the heart behind that. So
Yeah.
with the time that we have left, Ernesto, I'm curious, what's next for you?
Hmm. Hmm.
And what would you say is kind I wasn't going to ask this. I didn't like prepare this, but from where you started, like just talking about your family and your faith, um w- what do you think is your calling? Like with all these things that you're
Hmm.
doing, like if we could use that word, your calling, what do you, Ernesto, want to be known for with
Yeah.
all these things
Yeah.
that you're doing?
That's a beautiful, beautiful question. And through my own counseling that I've had for years, um, and I started getting my taking my counseling serious. And you know, as a therapist, I want to say this out loud to all of you who are listening: is the benefits of therapy, right?
Mm,
My calling or meaning or even purpose in life came about, unfortunately, when my mom passed away suddenly,
mm,
2014 or oh yeah, 14. So
mm,
when she passed away, it just uh, created another level of what is the meaning of life. For those of you who've experienced death in the past, it's a very confusing, powerful, beautiful, sad, anxiety, angry, provoking experience ever. Like it's so hard to explain because there's so many emotions involved going at the same time. Like it's such a weird experience. But at the same time, because of my faith background, because of my mom's faith and my family's faith, it also inspired me to live life to the fullest. It's I keep telling people this, and I said this in my keynote in Texas a few years ago. I said, and I didn't even consciously said it out loud. I mean, I wasn't prepared to say it, but I
mm,
said, you know, unfortunately, in my mom's death, I found life. It's a two
mm,
dichotomies of philosophy where you can actually find death or life in someone's death. And I think that's what happened to me
mm,
when my mom passed away, is that I found life. So part of where I want to be known for is that Filipino kid from Hawaii who lived his best life every single moment.
mm,
That's what I want to be known for. And in my own therapy session, when I mentioned that, this this energy just came roaring through my body. You know, I
mm,
want to be known for the person who loved being a therapist, who loved being a videographer, who loves to eat, who loves his dogs and lived and traveled, and who could say that he had communion at the Vatican, um, traveled, and just I don't want to be at a certain age, and I look back and I don't want to be that person that says I haven't done that.
Mm.
and I should have, because I was thinking about it. So I want to be that person. To My purpose is to really let people know, live life,
Mm.
you know and I think that was one of the saddest yet greatest gift that my mom's passing has given me. And I want to honor that by just having the best time of my life.
Mm.
Am I going to experience some heartache and tragedy or whatever? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. Even experiencing that to the fullest, the sorrow, the sadness, is still living the best life,
Mm.
in my opinion.
Wow, experiencing those things to the fullest
Hmm.
is living, because those
Yeah,
are part of life.
absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Sadness, pain, anger, frustration, resentment, live it, because that is being a human. That's like being open and experiencing life. And I think that is the best life, is if you're going to accept and expect one part of your life, you better make sure that you accept the other part of that life, right?
Mm.
I think that's it. We run away from actually living. And how many people walk around unconscious, not living life fully?
Mm. Yeah, going through the motions, getting by. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Life is happening to them, instead of for them.
Mm.
It's just one of those things where I don't. Sometimes, like today, I posted pork chops that I made in my air fryer, and you know how obsessed I am with my new air fryer. Well, it's not new anymore.
Yes.
And I was just so proud of it, and I turned off the TV, turned off everything. I just enjoyed my pork chops, and it many people call that mindful eating, but I call it living life in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It- w- When we share the things that bring us joy, like, it multiplies it.
I, mm,
When we share our gratitude, it, what negativity, criticism, cynicism, fear are contagious, but gratitude and life and joy and love are contagious too.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I choose to, live life to the fullest, as far as, having fun. And I think that's eh, where I can honestly say that I'm proud about, is that, even in my coaching business, that's one thing that I want to encourage people, um, that, life is to be lived, um, and not just to go through the motion so that we can live another day. Tomorrow is not promised. It's not promised.
Mm.
And so, just living your life to the fullest, with your friends, with your family, with your food, whatever. I think this is where it needs to start, to be grounded.
Nice. Yeah. Well, Ernesto, I hope I will get to your conference in Kauai one of these years. Really wanted to do it last year, um, and to, to be able to hang out and grab some food,
Oh yes.
watch you sing. I'll watch you sing karaoke, at some point, Lord willing, and uh, the yes, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Ernesto, for the reminder to live life to the
yeah.
fullest. And the friends, you can see why I was excited to have Ernesto on the show. He's encouraged me for years, and I hope you were blessed and encouraged from our interview today. Uh, where can folks connect with you, Ernesto?
Yeah, you can just friend me on Facebook, or find me on my Instagram account, and I know that you're going to post that. And yeah, I love sharing my life with people, and to encourage them. And I also gotta say, congratulations on your podcast. I mean, this is so much fun to see your process, and how you've moved through all this. I mean, this is, and seeing you have fun is awesome.
Thank you, Ernesto. Yeah, it's been great, and we'll see where it goes.
Yes, absolutely. Again, thank you.
All right. Thank you.